Set. Hi, today's the 18th of July 2019 and we're here at the kind of opening recognition party for the ORV Park, and it's recognize all the different entities and support people that have helped bring it to this stage, and with some little bit of luck, July of 2020 the park will actually be open. And today's a beautiful day and we've got a bunch of brand new Jeep products out here that are taking some of the officials that have been involved in this from the very beginning around on rides. So as we move along, we'll try and get you more information on the park. This is Bob DePalma, the Groveland Township Supervisor. Have a great day.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, you're awake now. I'm Dan Stetzel, the Executive Officer of the Oakland County Parks and Recreation Commission, and I want to welcome you here to the Hollyoaks ORV Park. This is the first legal public-owned off-road vehicle recreation area in southeast Michigan. You can say this is probably 50 years in the making. There's some people that remember when this was first proposed. I'm proud to say that this park was made possible by a very robust partnership with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources and Oakland County Parks and Recreation Commission over the past 5 years. With us today to say a few words about Hollyoaks ORV Park, the recreation opportunity it's going to bring to Oakland County, Southeast Michigan, and the state of Michigan, is Ron Olson, the Chief of Parks and Recreation for the DNR.
I don't have to raise the mic because Dan's tall too. So. Thanks. A couple of things that when you step back from this, one of the things that Dan said was this has been a long time in the making, and one of the things that we do in Parks and Recreation in the DNR is in the more recent time is to try to be relevant to the public, and this is one of those opportunities to show that we have diverse outdoor recreational opportunities. We do operate a facility at Silver Lake. It's been operating for many years and it's very successful on the dunes, but for a long, long time in the plans, there always was one to have more close to home recreation. And locating a place like this in an area closer to the urban core is very, very difficult. And so everyone involved and that we'll be talking and referencing today should be proud of the fact that it took a lot of work to find the right spot and the partners, and we have some people that have struggled through this, but the outcome was great, and I think this is a great thing for the future. Sometimes people ask, well, why do we do all of this stuff? And I always, like a lot of the things, even if you go backwards, this year is our 100th year of the state park system. And there's a lot of legacy there. Well, and I've said this before, but this will be one of those things that everyone that's here and the first time people ride here will remember that. And the goal is to have a memorable experience so that people 20, 30, 50 years from now, this will be here, it'll even be better, and it won't go away. And so that's something that's pretty cool to think about. If you can recall the people that have been, we've talked about Wilderness State Park, we talked about the Porcupine Mountains. Interlochen was the first official state park commissioned under the State Park Commission, and that, some of you may have been there, but that was 100 years old, and it's still there, and it still functions. And a lot of the reasons they were there are still there, and we sustained it and maintained it. One thing that's interesting about this, ORVs is a growing concern. In the number of licenses that have been issued have grown almost 15% since 2015. This is one of the few things that people have said, we want to raise our fee because we want to invest in our sport. So the fee a few years ago went from $16.25 to $26.25 plus a $10 permit fee to create equity between the trail users and the others. So who would go for a double my fee all at once? It's usually, oh, well, now government, we ought to go in steps. They said, let's do this. but we had to prove and demonstrate. And Tom Dunn, wherever he is, he's the chairman of the ORV committee, and he stuck with this and stood tall at the, but he had to believe too. So so this is an example of believing in that, and the fees will go towards that. The other comment I wanted to make about how difficult this is in these times, we had to struggle just like Oakland County Parks. It's not like we have a whole bunch of money sitting around that we want to expand the park system and things just because we have the opportunity. We have to be very careful. So we have progress. We always talk about stimulating the progress, but you can't create things you can't sustain. And one of the concerns is that we won't do this unless we can make sure that this goes on its own. So the way this is built is to be self-supporting. And any revenue over expenses will be plowed right back into the operation. So those of you that use this, pay the fee and get your ORV stickers, you know that this is funded by yourselves, and the volunteerism and all these clubs and groups will make this better. Just like the Slorva group up in Silver Lake invests a lot of time and effort, and they give back and they make it better. So this is not going to be one of those subsidized things. It's going to be a user-based, and it'll be for the users, and the passion will drive the outcome here, and we'll want to continue to make it better, challenging, and all that kind of stuff. Just a couple of things before I sit down, and that is, the thing, and I kind of mentioned that, but I wrote down the words driven by passion. And a lot of our recreational pursuits in the outdoors are driven by passion. And we have some very passionate people. This morning I was on Belle Isle, our advisory committee, and we get our butts kicked about some stuff that's allowed there. If some are champions of the Grand Prix and some hate it. But we try to create balance and try to look at the glasses half full, and we try to accommodate a lot of different pursuits, from the wilderness experience all the way to very active motorized things. And so it's a diversity of the system that makes us strong. Some of the key players in this, I mentioned Tom, who's been a warrior with the ORVs for a long time, and he chairs some committee of cats sometimes that are hard to herd, and they have a lot of diverse things. We have Jerry, who you'll hear from in a minute. He herds the other folks in the light blue shirts that always, as far as I know, they probably always don't agree on everything, right? But we make ourselves stronger. We have Keith Cray. Where's Keith? And he's back there. He was a former DNR director and sat on the trust fund board, and he believed in what we were doing. And as Dan said, this has been a 4 or 5 year project. We have Paul Yauk, who was previously our land liaison, and we were talking to Bob DePalma, Township supervisor, about how long this has been stirring around, and it's kind of the relentless pursuit of achieving things. And of course, there are many other people. Dan, of course, who hatched the idea with the adventure park, and where we kind of got this thing going and teamed up and all that. And this is the second, by the way, joint county state park, if you will. This is a part of the Holly and the Groveland Oaks complex, but we do have one at Watkins Lake State Park. We teamed up with Washtenaw County Parks, so we're encouraging that sort of thing because we believe in together we do things better. So the last thing I want to do is with this legacy project is just have the DNR staff team that's been involved in this. We have our trail folks, our ORV grant people, and all of them. If you just raise your hand or stand up for a second, just to, because they worked really hard on all this. And these are people from across the state that work on our grants and handle the clubs. We have 38 clubs that work all over the state on trails and all of that. So with that, I'll turn it back to Big Dan here. I was going to introduce Jerry, but he won't let me, so no. We'll let Dan do it.
Don't.
Thank you.
These guys are like fire. Yeah. Thanks, Ron. Now it's my pleasure and honor to introduce Jerry Fisher, our boss and the chairman of the Oakland County Parks and Recreation Commission.
So I'm going to have to move the microphone down. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So this is a great day. And let me also add my name to the people welcoming you out here. And we're really pleased and thankful that you were able to come out. And now, I know there are a lot of people from Oakland County here, and there are a lot of people from the state here. Is there anybody, I know there are several people, but all the people that have just come out on their own as volunteers, would you raise your hands? Okay. Thank you very much. And you know, I'm not that I'm giving short shrift to people from Oakland County or the townships and the state, but it's nice to see the people that are going to be using this as well. And these are the people that are really going to be using it, and they're ready to push us out of the way to get in here, I think, actually. I'd like to also introduce county or park commissioners that are here. Dave Vanderveen and Gary McGilvery is here, and they are officers on the commission. And then two other partners of ours, Ron Folks and Bob Costin, who were also on our committee that worked with the DNR to put this together. And Bob Costin was really, I suppose, dubbed our cheerleader most of the way through. So as has been mentioned, we've been really working on this project with the DNR for a long time. And we really are so happy that we had the opportunity to do it. And because not only did we learn and have a great relationship with the DNR, but we, at least from our standpoint anyway, they may not feel the same way, but we developed new friends and partners along the way that I think is going to go a long way to make this as well as other projects excellent in the future. So I really appreciate all the things that the DNR has worked with us on, and Ron Olson and Jason Fleming, Jason Fleming is not here, as far as I could tell, or he's on vacation. Okay, well, we'll bring him out here. But they were both actively and personally involved in this project. So it wasn't as though Ron just comes up here and there's another pretty face that makes a presentation. He had his hands in the whole thing, sleeves rolled up, and worked on one with all of us. So what we really had then is the DNR came in here with tremendous capability generally for parks and rec, and also ORV in particular. And then we added to the mix the idea of creating and operating parks in a pretty high quality way. And so the end result of all that was a darn good partnership that I think has produced what you see out here, and I think it's going to be based upon the arrangement that we've made. It's going to be a long-term effective partnership to keep this operating for a long time. And I won't go into the trust fund. I know that everybody's already talked about that. And we are, at this point, the Oakland County Parks and Rec group and staff, and obviously staff has done a tremendous job on this. How about the staff raising your hands that have worked on this? Oh, great. Thank you very much. Outstanding job. Outstanding job. And they've worked hard, and we're still pulling the oars on this to develop it and finish the development, and work with experts to make sure we're going to do it right. And this is a great location. I mean, we've got north-south transportation with I-75 as well as Dixie Highway. We've got the Groveland Oaks campground and park across the street. We've got the state's Holly Recreation Area just down the road. I mean, you can't ask for a better situation. And the ski hill, exactly. I was looking for snow today, but one thing that is clearly not obvious to anybody at this point, but there's in the planning a heritage and recreational corridor on Dixie Highway or Dixie Byway, and that's all of this is going to create the potential for an outstanding destination in North Oakland County here. And so, as you know, our goal is to complete this and formally open it up by next July. And we're going to be home to many types of vehicles that are here, from motorcycles to full-size vehicles and everything in between. For the people that don't know a lot about this can use it. People that know a lot about it can hone their skills. And so this is really going to be great. And before I finish, we do have 3 county commissioners here as well, and some township officials. But the commissioners will be Eileen Kowal is here, Bob Hoffman, and Kristen Nelson. We appreciate your support throughout this whole project, and you know, there'll be more things that are going to happen. So we look forward to this coming online. We hope everybody that's anxious to use it will be patient until it does, because we want to create something really spectacular, yet safe, and fun, but challenging. And one thing that we've tried to keep an eye on is that we want to make it financially self-sustaining. And so I think we're going to accomplish all of those things. And we really thank you for coming out today. And let's just kick this off right. Bob, did you want to?
Thank you, Jerry.
He asked me to, never mind.
Oh, you want?
No, you go ahead. Listen, I've become the cheerleader for the ORV Park. And the reason is, I'll be very short here, is that when I first got out of college, I got interested in motorcycles and started racing and rode TTs and scrambles and hare scrambles and raced at the Sioux in a snowmobile. So I was sort of a crazy guy. But the thing that really impressed me most about working with the Oakland County Parks and Rec Commission, the entire commission, and how lucky we are to have the DNR want to do this, is the fact that it's for families. You're going to see, when my son was 7 years old, I put him on a Y Zinger, and you're going to see that same thing here. The great thing about this is it will become not only national, international, and you're going to see the children out there with their family. That's what really makes it good. Thank you.
Rah, rah, ish, boom, ba. Thanks, Bob. Now just a few thank yous and announcements as we continue. On behalf of the DNR and Oakland County Parks, we would like to thank the leadership of Holly and Groveland. I know some of you stood, but give you one more time. Please stand. We appreciate all of your support. At this time, I would like to recognize the contribution of someone who's no longer with us. This property was owned by Steve Stolarock, and for people who knew Steve, he was quite a character. At 91 years old, he passed about a year and a half ago, but what you see out in front of you, he basically did with a couple payloaders and a couple dozers over a period of a year, creating the start of this facility, probably valued at somewhere over $1 million worth of effort. So, you know, Steve's up there somewhere and looking down on us that we finally got this open. And I can remember the first time I met Steve, I had a tie on, and I told him that I was going to invite him, make sure that he got to cut the ribbon. And so I pulled up my tie and let him cut my tie. Yeah, I didn't like it anyway. Yeah, it was one of those Jerry Garcias. Anyway, I would like to thank the Detroit Taco Company for providing tonight's dinner. Thank you so much. I'd like to also recognize our advisory group. You folks, we've talked about you a couple times, but please, one more time. Couple of the ringleaders for an event that's going to happen on September 14th, Tom Zielinski and Matt Zubrick. They are hosting Detroit 4Fest, and it will be the first large public event at this park. Again, it's September 14th. If people want to sign up with that, there's a few spots remaining at $50 a vehicle. or if you're not bringing your own vehicle to the event, it will be free to the general public. So Matt and Tom, please stand if anybody has any questions about that event. Also, the bulldozer that's sitting over there. This is an example of one of the great opportunities that this facility has. Everybody in this tent has a contact. They know somebody that might be able to support us and give us something. So here's an example of Detroit Cat and Hal Neighbors works. Hal, wave. John Noyes and I met him 8 years ago in the pit at Ray Road over in Oxford, but he's been a staunch supporter of this, and he got Caterpillar to donate that, and he currently works for Stante Excavating, and they supported us with his labor to be out here today. So for all of the staff, now let's get everybody up and give yourself a big applause and wave. All the staff, all the commissioners, everybody that had something remotely to do with this successful program, please stand. Some people thought this would never happen. The keychains that you got today are a commemorative for this event only. We want you to know that the actual official logo for this has not been officially approved, and we will be unveiling that when the park opens July 2020. Now, if you want to continue the festivities and take a test ride, if you want to stay and watch the sunset over the pit, you're welcome to do that as well. It's quite dramatic. And one last announcement. We would like to have a photo opportunity with Parks and Rec and DNR staff, commissioners, township officials, and so on. If you would see, you guys look like Vanna White over there. Melissa and Desiree, and they'll organize you. So thank you all for your participation. We really do appreciate your support. Thank you.
Okay, the next person I want to introduce is from Oakland County Parks, Dan Stenson. Dan, I think we have been working on this what sometimes seems like forever, right?
Like forever,
yeah.
But 5+ years,
Yep.
I'd say.
I remember the very early meetings, and I think the statement you made that was so appropriate here is that actually seems like the moon and the stars and everything lined up perfectly. Everybody worked together, and we got a really good project going here.
I think it's a tremendous project because of getting the state of Michigan, getting Oakland County,
Yep.
and getting 2 local units of government
Yep.
to collaborate on anything
Yep.
is pretty amazing.
I agree. It's the only time I could think of it. And
So it's pretty noteworthy.
yeah, and what's really nice is it's a really good use for an old gravel pit. It's a real good productive community use for it.
And the opportunities that potentially could exist in the future for expanding the facility.
Yep,
So,
and the additional businesses that I think it'll be. So thank you very
Yep.
much, and I appreciate all the support along
thanks,
the way
Bob,
on this.
and thanks to your board and staff.
Yep.
And thank you.
It's a good work by everybody. Thank you. Okay. Hi, I'm here now with one of our township trustees, Jim Christopher. And Jim, you've been involved in this with the Planning Commission and now the Township Board. You want to make any comments on how you feel about the project?
Oh, I'm thrilled it's moving forward. I'm thrilled to be here. I don't know exactly when this is going to open, but I know we're close.
Yep.
And
July of 2020 is the last date I've been given.
Well, that'll be great. In about a year, I'll be here again. But this has been great to see it from day one start to move forward.
Yep.
Very excited to be part of it.
Well, thanks for your support, and we appreciate it. So
Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks. See you, Bob.
Okay. Does Dale want? Okay. And here today with 2 more of our board members is Patty Back, our township clerk, and Shelley Kidd, our township treasurer. Do you have any comments you want to make about the park project since we're getting so close to actually seeing it materialize now?
Yes, I've never been four-wheeling, but just came back. It was fun. I highly recommend trying it out.
And the roads here are rougher than the ones in the township, right?
Yes, we were discussing that on our ride. So, yeah, and the scenery was nice back there, too. I mean,
It's actually kind of
really
impressive
pretty.
when they take you around on the ride to see the course, just how much has been done in the last year
when you
or
look
two.
up and all you see is sky.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, Tom took you for a ride, right?
Yes.
You want to say anything
Sky.
My son is jealous because he is not here today. He would love to be here. Everybody I know has been looking forward to this opening.
People are anxious
Oh,
for it.
there's been a lot of calls, a lot of interest in it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
Bob.
you.
Okay, the next person I want to introduce you to is my friend George Cullis, the supervisor in Holly Township. And for those of you who don't know, this park is physically located not only in Groveland, but the other half of it's in Holly Township. And it's an effort that's been cooperative between both of our communities, along with the county and the state, to make it happen. And George, I know you're also the Chamber of Commerce for Holly president, so you want to make a few comments on the other things we got going here?
Well, you know, we're called the Holly Area Chamber of Commerce.
Yep.
And that's going to allow us to take this Dixie Byway and be a part of that economic development between both Holly, Groveland, and Springfield Township, between exits 93 and 106. And this is up north in Holly. This is the area where recreation happens, as well as you know, between Mount Holly, the bike paths, and the other
Historic
recreational
Village,
events.
Battle Alley, the fairgrounds in Springfield Township,
With the Renaissance
Festival,
coming
all
up.
of that, yeah.
All of that stuff's going to be able to tie in. With the Chamber of Commerce working with the businesses, we're going to be able to develop this whole corridor. And the intention is, in the development, to keep it up north in Oakland County.
Yep. And I think it's a tremendous opportunity for us, and it kind of fits in with what most of our residents have said the qualities are that they want to preserve out here. So this is a really good opportunity, and this ORV facility, I think, becomes kind of the big catalyst spark plug to kind of get it rolling for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's no question there. We've already got developers looking at land coming in on a regular basis talking about what they can do.
Yep.
So it's important that we keep our hand on this so it doesn't get out of hand.
Yeah, we've got a definite theme we're developing, and maybe in a future video what we can do is kind of clip together some of the issues we're doing with the Chamber to help promote this whole area as the Dixie Byway.
Yep.
So, in case you forget, there still is going to be a car show October the 5th, Mount Holly's parking lot. Bring those old cars and motorcycles and special interest vehicles. Thank you very much.
We look forward to seeing everybody. Come on out.
Thank you. Going? Okay. Hi, today I'm here with one of the key people that helped get this project off the ground. Paul Yauk. He is with the DNR, and when we first started the project, you were my first contact, and we were just chatting here with everybody that it seemed like it was yesterday.
It was. I'm telling you, we had a lot of concern. We had people that weren't interested, and Bob called and said, you know what, I think I've got a site that's going to work.
Yep.
And that started this partnership. We started talking and putting the pieces together, and here we are today, you know, the groundbreaking, the opening day, and to get this going, and it's going to be a good project.
It's kind of nice to see it. It didn't, you know, when we started, I kind of thought, oh, this would be a year or two project, and here it's about 5 or 6 years, you know, but it's actually happening, and it's because there's been tremendous work between the DNR, and this man is the guy that helped get the whole project started with me. It was a good meeting when we got started.
We have good partners.
Yep, that's right. So, official, thank you, Paul.
Thank you for all your work, too.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Bob.
Thanks, everybody. Okay, thanks.